Hi there! Today I'm going to continue the harvest marathon. We got about 20 millimeters of rain yesterday. There's water in the wheelbarrow and I'm prepared for more soggy soil. So today's TPS is Heiderot open pollinated, so hopefully something red will show up. Starting with a bag where even the weeds didn't thrive. The tiny potato plant, you'll see. Oh yes. Soggy soil. Yay. And 3 very dark, muddy potatoes. That's something. That's good. The next bag. Another tiny plant. And ooh, that's bad. See this? That's a very, very deep wound in the potato. It's all soggy and mushy. This one will start to rot within a few days. It's nothing that will keep. I hope it's not pretty inside. That would be sad. And maybe I find an undamaged potato in the bag. We'll see. Found a slug. That's the typical kind of slug I find in my garden. They're not huge, but they can do as much damage as the big brown ones. Just one more tiny potato, also with damaged skin, so I'm really hoping these aren't pretty, because it's impossible to keep them alive until next growing season. But next bag. The next bag also has a small plant and a small potato. And a surprisingly big potato. And the third one. So that's not bad at all for such a tiny plant. And the skins here are looking better. Hoping to find at least one keeper from this batch. A snail and a tiny plant. Really big earthworm. And one potato. I like to find at least 2 potatoes, but because then I have one to plant next year in case it's a keeper, and one to cut open to check if it's a keeper. Because when I cut this one open, I'm not able to plant it next year, even if it would be the most pretty thing ever. This time the plant is a little bit bigger and has some red potatoes. Now we got 3 bags left, and despite being not too big, they're still alive, which indicates that these are later varieties. But you can see the plants haven't done too well this year due to the cold weather, rain, and you see all those eaten leaves. So as soon as the plant grew a leaf, it was eaten by slugs and snails. So yeah, wet years can do this to the plants, and potato plants are surprisingly popular with slugs and snails. And speaking of them, there is one, a fat one. Something red. Next bag. More slug damage to the stem. and some funny colored potatoes. And the last bag. And this must be a very late variety, because all the small tubers it was setting, they are not done growing, and you can tell that's pretty green. It's not done growing yet. Okay, here we go. This is very interesting because the mother variety was a red one, and we're seeing lots of purple ones and some pink ones. And the upper row here, that's the early ones, and the lower row here, that's the ones which were still alive, indicating they are later ones. Also interesting, last video we had potatoes with a white ring and less color in the middle, or how should I explain this? We had the skins, then we had an area of white or yellow, and then we had some coloration in the middle of the potato. And here you can see a very even distribution of the color, which should mean that once it's cooked, it should retain more color. Here you can see more of a white ring around the potato, but there's still some color in that ring. There's just more color in the middle. Here we have more even distribution again and again, and pale coloration in the middle, and a relatively wide ring with white color. Then we get this one with very even purple, one with light purple in the middle and more pale around the edge, and one with red-pink color, not much. And a white ring again. When you choose to cut open a potato and you don't have many, because there's just 2 or 3, try to choose one which is unlikely to survive storage. So here you see the damage on the skin. That wouldn't survive storage. here I chose the one with the really deep damaged skin. Here it's the same. That was the single potato, but it already started to turn mushy around this edge, so yeah, no choice, had to cut it open because I wanted to know. But producing a single potato and turning mushy around the edge already, it wouldn't be a keeper regardless how pretty it is or not. Then these ones are no keeper. There's no single potato that was undamaged. There's really bad skin damage, so that's not a keeper anyways. Then here I had one with a hole. Of course I was cutting that open because the other skins are relatively fine. Here, not a keeper at all. See how bad the skins look. They're very, very prone to scab. So that's how potatoes look that are susceptible to scab and stay in wet soil. Bad damage. And this one has some bad damage too, so it's not worth keeping. Most likely I'm going to keep this one because it has very, very even color distribution inside. That should cook up nicely. The tiny tuber probably won't make it during storage, but that one should be big enough to make it through storage. So I'm going to taste test this one and see if it's good. You can already tell that this one, the cut is already drying up and having this white stuff on it. That's starch. So this one might be a very, very starchy variety. I like those, so that sounds great. Blue or purple mush. It's always cool to have. And since this one was the one that performed best from harvest size, I will also taste test this one and try to bring it over winter. And here you can also see that it starts to dry up and looks a little white, so that's also starch coming out. And the knife I was using to cut them open is already having little starch remainings showing on it, so looks like a starchy batch actually, because lots of them are showing signs of drying up with some starch showing, so that's cool. So yeah, the keepers from this batch are number 1 and number 3. Thanks for watching, and I'll add pictures from the cooked results to the video at the end. Bye!